One of the angles of a quadrilateral is thrice the smaller angle of a parallelogram. The respective ratio between the adjacent angles of the parallelogram is 4:5. Remaining three angles of the quadrilaterals are in the ratio 4:11:9 respectively. What is the sum of the largest and the smallest angle of the quadrilateral? Now the question is telling me that one of the angles of a quadrilateral is thrice the smaller angle of a parallelogram. So what does this mean? That there is this parallelogram, and this is the smaller angle of the parallelogram, and this is the larger angle of the parallelogram. Let's call the smaller angle x and larger angle as y. Now there is, again, this is a quadrilateral. We don't know what it is, whether it is a rectangle, square, or anything else. We don't know what this quadrilateral is, but the question is telling me that one of the angle of this quadrilateral is three times the smaller angle of the parallelogram. One of the angle of the quadrilateral is thrice the smaller angle of a parallelogram. Okay, so this angle is 3 times x. All right, this much is clear. Now the respective ratio between the adjacent angle of the parallelogram is 4:5. Now this x and y are the adjacent angle of this parallelogram, and the ratio of them, x is to y, is given to us as 4:5. All right, remaining three angles of the quadrilaterals are in the ratio 4:11:9 respectively. So that means remaining angles, that means these three angles of the quadrilateral, are in the ratio 4:11:9. So let's say this angle is 40, this angle is 11t, and this angle is 90. I have just assumed a common multiple factor here. So this much is clear, and we have to find out what is the sum of the largest and the smallest angle of the quadrilateral. All right, now let's focus here. We know that x is to y is 4:5, or I can say that y, okay, I can write this x like this: x over y is equals to 4/5, or I can say that y is equals to 5/4x. All right, this much is clear. I can write y as 5/4x. Now we know that the sum of the adjacent angle of a parallelogram, the sum of the adjacent angles of a parallelogram is always 180 degree. That means x plus y is 180 degrees, right? Now let's substitute for y here. Instead of y, we'll write 5/4x. So we get x plus 5/4x is equals to 180 degree. So we get, let's take LCM as 4x plus this 5x is equals to 180, and here we have 9x is equals to 180 into 4. So 9 ones are 9 twos are 18. So here we get x as 20 into 4, 80 degrees. So we have the value of x here, which is 80 degrees. Now from this information, we can find out this angle of the quadrilateral, which is 3x. So 3 into 80 here will be 240 degrees, right? So this angle of the quadrilateral is 240 degrees. Now we know that the sum of all the four angles of a quadrilateral is always equals to 360 degree. All right, the sum of all the angles of a quadrilateral is equals to 360 degrees. That means 240 degrees, this 240 degree plus this 40 plus 11t plus this 90 will be equals to 360 degree. All right, so let's solve this. We get 11 plus 9, 20 plus 420, 40 is equals to 360 minus 240 here will be 120, and 24 5 is the 120. So we get the value of t, which is equals to 5. And we are asked what is the sum of the largest and the smallest angle of the quadrilateral. So obviously 240 will be the largest angle of the quadrilateral, and the rest of them are 5 4s are 20. This will be 55, and this will be 45. So this is the smallest and this is the largest. So the sum that we'll get here is 240 plus this 20 will be 260 degrees, and this is our required answer. So here option B is the correct one.